Morning. Today we're going to go ahead and work a little bit more on the Fighting 5, but we're going to go ahead and break it down with a bladed weapon today. Some other things we've done, I don't know if you noticed on my video yesterday, my little piece of PVC pipe I was using was something that I've modified a little bit. We made it a little bit shorter and we put a nice little point on the end of it, So the battle stick we're using today is a little bit closer to the length that you'd see in the serrata stick, but we got that nice point on the end. Part of that's because I'm going to just some nastier implements that we're going to do through Chaos Fight Science. I don't know if you guys have seen on the news, but Texas went ahead and made the state knife the bowie, and that just goes perfect for me. So Chaos Fight Science, our new system battle weapon is the bowie knife now. So I got a couple of variations here. You can get trainers. There's some great trainers out there. This one is actually, I don't know, I got this from Hawk. A good funny story on this one was this actual knife. We were doing the seminar decades ago, and Hawk, he's banging his stuff up a lot, right? So the knives, they get scratched up, and this has got, as you can see, some nice little nubs on the bottom of it. Well, through the course of the weekend, he must have killed me and cut my throat with this thing dozens of times, right? And every time he did, as it rolled across my neck, it felt like it was cutting my throat, So I got done with that seminar, and I was like, dude, I want that knife. I'm buying that knife. I got memories of that thing. So here it is, decades later, it's still my training bowie blade. Now, with that being said, I've got a ton of buoys. Okay, I've got some old traditional Filipino. I got a real beautiful Filipino buoy that Dan Lewis got for me. This is a Winchester buoy, and this is I think it's just a Reaper buoy. I picked this thing up at Academy. It's pretty cheap, but it's cool. This is what I keep in my truck right next to my seat. So it's my go-to blade if I got to come out on my truck slaffing and gaffing. So that's just a couple. I'm going to go ahead and do some of the demo with this blade because I just like it. Okay, and as we showed yesterday, we were working on our Fighting 5, which is just basically from a slashing perspective, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. From a stabbing perspective, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From a gaffing or a longer stab perspective, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the gaff up under the chin, wherever it chooses to go. Now, when you're using the blade, we're still going to use our primary tactic for defending against this, if we're using it, or if we're defending against punches or anything with this blade, as our, defang the snake, or cut the attack, or slash the attack. Now we're talking about a bigger hunk of steel now. So if I was using a little bitty tactical folder, probably spend a little bit more time thinking on cutting, a little less opportunities to hack, right? Well, this big son of a bitch, I can hack with it. So if I saw one coming in with this, I could hack it, right? I could hack the 2, I could hack the 3, I could hack the 4, I could hack the 5 now coming in, as well as cut them, right? Slashing either direction I wanted to go. So that's what's really cool about this guy. So again, our motions, if my tip is rarely going to be down. If my tip was down, it'd be the same. My tip was down, it'd be the same. My tip was down, it'd be the same, it'd be the same, right? So from that perspective, our slashes again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now this is kind of a big, heavy weapon. It's not super heavy. The Winchester isn't. The Reaper's got a little bit more weight to it. You can think about doing this very similar to the way you would work with a bolo or a kukri or something like that. Just this is the Texas blade, brother. So that's what we're using. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Beyond the slashings, all right? So we're going to cut with a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. I'm excited with this. You put a buoy in my hand, I get excited. So if I goof this video up, forgive me. Defenses against this from a tip up perspective. Bang, we could hack it. Bang, we could hack it. Hack, hack, hack. We could slash it. If my tip was down, it'd be coming from a fall through. Maybe I missed a slash, I would return. Missed a slash, I'd return. Missed a slash, jam it in this way, I can hack this way, get hacked that way, get hacked down, hack up. All those kind of things will work. So that's kind of the way to work the Fighting 5 with the bowie. All right. So get a good training bowie. I don't recommend that you run around with a live blade. This mother is sharp. Okay, but you know, I got a couple of training days underneath my belt, so I don't mind training with this. Plus, this is what I'm really going to train with. This is what I'm going to use. This or this, which I do really like. All right, so I do spend a little time training with these guys because that's what I'm going to use. Now, to add to this just a little bit, we're going to think about, we did cover our slashes and we covered our stabbings. Now we're going to do just a slash and a stab with the Fighting 5. So I came in with a Fighting 5 slash, I could return a thrust. 2, I could return a thrust. 3, return a thrust. 4, return a thrust. 5, return a thrust. All right. In the same vein, I could come in with a thrust. I could cut out, cut out, cut out, cut out, cut out. Right. Now, one thing we found every year when we hunt, we usually experiment just a bit on the carcass. I know it sounds kind of rough, but hey, I've got a deer carcass hung there and quartered, and I don't have the opportunity normally to insert a blade into something with flesh and bone. Okay, in this point I do. So what we found a lot of times, if you're going to stick this into a wooden pole, yeah, you got to kind of chip it out, right? But if you, once you stick this to the hilt, if I bury this bowie in to this hilt, you're going to see that that's not going to be so easy to just chip out, right? So if I stab in, sometimes I've got to cut out, okay, because that it's easier for me to cut out than it's going to be to chip it or twist it out, right? So from this perspective, if I stab in, cut out, 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 right? You're gonna have to use a little bit of force, put a little bit of force on that. If I'm thrusting, if I'm gaffing, same thing. All right, so if you're gonna slash, return a stab. If you're gonna gaff, cut out. All right, so I hope that makes sense for you. Have some fun, break it out and train with, at least get the feel of the real weapon. Now, one thing that a lot of people don't cover when they train knife, and one thing that we did learn, or we learned it and we continue to learn, is when we do work on a real target, like cutting up our own meat, cutting up our game, we learn to use this as more of a real tool. I'm not just playing slash and stab with it. Back to the trainer, I learned what it feels like to push in and cut. Okay, I understand what that means. If I come into something, I know what it takes to cut through, right? I understand what it feels like to cut out because I've actually done that. Okay, so you don't have that opportunity. You do have the opportunity to use your knife in the kitchen. You know, cut, feel what it takes to cut. Understand it takes pressure to cut. Okay, don't use this thing like a little magic marker. This thing has to be used to cut. Sharper the blade, the better, but you will still have to cut through that medium. Okay, thrusting, sometimes it goes in pretty simply, but cutting itself, it takes a little bit of effort. It's not just a guaranteed victory because you touched the skin. You've got to cut and enter into that to the bone. Okay, that's where it works at. Have a great day, train hard.